Hello, everyone. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to sincerely thank all of you for the tremendous support you have shown our law firm as we have tried to bring attention to and address this recent issue with U.S. Financial institutions closing the accounts of Iranian Americans without providing any kind of explanation or reason as to why they are doing so. Last week, our firm hosted a webinar that addressed this issue and answered some of your questions. It has been brought to our attention that a large number of people were not able to join either due to scheduling conflicts or technical difficulties. And we have received a great number of positive feedback from that and a lot of people who want to step in and take action. So I wanted to take a moment and provide you with a brief summary of what was discussed, as well as the next steps we plan on taking toward hopefully finding a solution to address this matter. So before we can start talking about solutions, we need to understand what the problem is. Why is it that US banks are closing the accounts of Iranian Americans at an alarming rate? From my experience and my expertise in the areas of sanctions law, I believe that the root of the problem is the US sanctions against Iran. And the reason is these sanctions, while they allow US citizens and US persons to engage in certain transactions with Iran, they do not carve out any transparent channel through which one can engage in those transactions. So think about it. Most Iranian Americans living here, all 2 million plus of us, are just Americans living our lives here, but we have ties to Iran, not because we're doing anything with the government of Iran, not because of any political ties we have either to the US or Iran, just by the sheer fact that we were either born there or our family lives there. So while every other American can sell a property that they inherit, or they can receive help from their family in financially trying times, when your family is located in Iran and you have these comprehensive sanctions against Iran, it complicates it for you. So the issue is that the regulations themselves do permit Iranian Americans to, for example, sell personal or real property that they inherited, even when they were US persons, or properties that they had acquired prior coming to the United States. Similarly, they allow what is called a non-commercial personal remittance. That means personal funds being sent to and from Iran that are not related to any commercial enterprise or activities. However, these regulations don't carve out a channel through which anyone can engage in these transactions. As an Iranian American, I can't go into a bank in Iran and directly wire funds to the United States as I would if, for example, I was living in France or my family was living in France. Why? Because there are no banking relationships between Iran and the United States. The only channel through which you can legally send funds to the United States from Iran is through the use of a currency exchange broker. And the way that works is that your family goes to a broker in Iran and gives them the Iranian currency and asks for US dollars to be delivered to their family here in the United States. The broker can then send the funds from another broker's account or their own account from a third country, or in some instances, they arrange for the funds to be delivered from inside the United States. And this latter form is absolutely not permitted. So just remember, if you're receiving funds from Iran, under no circumstances should they be deposited into your account directly from inside the United States. That can open you up to potential fraudulent activities, bank fraud, or other issues. Money should be sent from a third country. But even when money is sent from a third country, it's often sent from some account that has no relations to you, from some country that you're not even aware of. And that's not because you're not doing your job or your homework. That's because that is the way that the system is built. So what ends up happening is that an Iranian American exercising their rights under the current regulations to receive money from Iran can encounter issues because of the fact that there is no transparent channel through which they're sending the funds. So their underlying transaction is legal under the sanctions regulations, but no matter how they send the funds, it's inherently going to look suspicious to the US bank that's receiving the funds. So what happens next? What we have been seeing, what US banks are calling de-risking. De-risking means a US bank can decide to close the account of a client because the activity of that account seems suspicious or risky, and the bank is choosing to de-risk that account by closing it. So what we're seeing is that Americans are basically doing what is their right to do under our current regulations, and they're having their bank accounts closed. Why? Because the way that the US government, the way that the Department of Treasury has written these regulations and administered these regulations is in such a way that you cannot transparently engage in those activities. So what are we going to do next? Because of the fact that we are seeing thousands of accounts be closed, and they are impacting the lives of these individuals who are doing nothing wrong, we believe that the Department of the Treasury, and more specifically, the Office of Foreign Assets Control, who handles and administers the US sanctions, needs to take a closer look at these regulations and needs to carve out a way that a US person can take advantage of the exceptions laid out in these regulations without then leading to massive bank account closures or issues on the US side. So the way that we're moving forward is, number one, our office is drafting a letter to send to the Department of the Treasury that outlines these issues from our experience, from our expertise in the field, as well as through the feedback we're getting through the community. In addition to that, we are putting a petition together that we're asking for not just members of the community, but anyone who feels that this type of discriminatory impact on any community should not be tolerated here in the United States to sign on to this petition, as well as encouraging each and every one of you to use the democratic tools that we have at our disposal and to contact your congressional representatives and to highlight this issue. I truly believe that if there is awareness in the United States government about how these regulations are having an, albeit unintended but very real, discriminatory and unfair impact on a large community that's living here, they will find a way to find a solution. So if you'd like to be a part of this process in either signing on the letter that we're sending to the Treasury or contacting your congressional rep, which we are happy to assist you to do. We have a template that we have developed that you can use to contact them. If you need help finding out who your representatives are, we have assistance in that regard as well. And also, for those of you who have had your bank accounts closed and would like to see if you have a solid legal case, if you'd like to pursue any type of legal remedy against the financial institution that closed your account, we are also speaking to a number of firms who have handled this type of litigation, and we're happy to put you in touch with them. So please, if you'd like to sign our petition, if you would like to contact your congressional rep, or if you just like a little bit more information regarding what is happening and how you can help, or if you have directly been impacted by this and like to know what you can do next, please don't hesitate to contact us. The best way is email info@yazdanyarlaw.com. You can message us on any of our social media platforms, as well as give us a call at 310-780-6360. Thank you so much.